we are at the end. There is, as Nick points out, there is no time travel until questionably the end. And I wanna throw my pitch out here for why I do think that this is absolutely time travel. Okay,
Please.
all right. So similarly to a film that we have also reviewed earlier in this time travel draft, Donnie Darko, we do not see any time travel actually happen until the very end of the film, but we don't actually get to see where it is that they go. There is a bit of a leap of faith here toward the end, which I think is extremely important for what this film is trying to say. And I think you already see where I'm going with this. So in this movie, we get three characters who are crazy nostalgic for the past, right? We have Kenneth, we have Darius. We know why. We know that both of those characters want to save loved ones, or they want to go back to a happier time where they have those loved ones in their lives, right? The character we haven't spent a lot of time here with is Jake. Jake, Jeff, Jake Johnson's character, right? So I think he's actually the standout actor in this movie. Even though his character is like a huge scumbag, I think he's doing a great job in adding what little charisma you can give this character. This character is the high school jock that longs for the days of old, for the glory days, right? He wants to, the only reason why he's doing this assignment is so he can be in the same town as a girl that he used to really like, who was super hot in high school, and he wants to bang her. And like, he finds some kind of joy in that, right? But he's nostalgic for it. He's a little disappointed when he finds her, but he gives it a chance, and he falls over head over heels for her really fast, right? And so much so he wants to like bring her back home with him. However, this character has also been harmed by the past, harmed by love. We're going to come back to that theme, harmed by love, right? And she can't do it. She can't revisit that past, right? She's not even willing to take the leap with Jake Johnson, right? And this shatters Jake Johnson, right? And he moves forward, and he takes what he's learned from this and he passes it on to the Ute, right? Okay, fast forward. So we are back at the dock where Kenneth is saying to Darius, like, I'm not going back for me anymore, I'm going back for you. And Darius is hesitant because everything up until this moment has painted Kenneth as an insane person. And maybe he actually is insane. But she still likes this person, like this human that she has made this connection with. And maybe not all of it is real, but she knows that there was some kind of a real connection there. So she decides to take a leap of faith. Not just in the idea of maybe this isn't time travel, maybe this won't get me back to the past, but I am going to take a leap of faith in this person I have fallen in love with. So she jumps from the dock, an actual leap of faith, onto a time travel machine that may or may not work, and then they disappear. So I think the time travel itself, while we don't get to see them actually like go back and do it, and I do agree with you, it does feel like a ball buster to not actually see it. I think like that's the metaphor that they are going for, right? You don't know where you're going to land with this person. You are taking a leap of faith, and maybe it'll work out, but your safety is not guaranteed.
Great. Okay, I'll give you that. That was a great explanation, and I can see the reasons for coming up with that. It makes sense. But the issue at the end of the day, this is so much more implied time travel than Donnie Darko. The Donnie Darko and this are very different.
It really is.
Okay? This leap of faith most likely ended up in death. Okay? This is crazy. Like, this is not a time travel movie. This is the idea of a time travel movie. This is not a complete film. It ends with a leap of faith, sure. But if this is a time travel movie, they have to travel somewhere else in time. They don't have to come back, but they have to show us that they've traveled somewhere else in time. And all this movie does is contradict itself the whole time and disobeys its own rule throughout the whole film. The whole film, it disobeys its own one rule that it set. This is not time travel.
I cannot argue against that. Yeah, I actually did not remember that, and like that's actually kind of embarrassing. Again, like if like I think you can have the contradiction, right? If it's some kind of like emotional stake, but then the movie then it's on the onus of the movie to explain the contradiction, or at least like imply the contradiction, like a reason for it, right? But it doesn't do that. So like I agree, that's bad writing. I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah, it's just has one rule, disobeys the one rule to meet pretty much the whole time, and then doesn't even give you
Immediately.
time travel at the end. Like, I'm pretty sure that he is insane. Doesn't mean he's not brilliant. Plenty of brilliant people are crazy, right? So he definitely invented some sort of device because they fucking disappeared. But there is no resolve. There's nothing. There is nothing after that. The movie just rolls credits. So it's not time travel. There until you show us that you've actually traveled somewhere to another time period, even if it was just an hour before, then okay. But nothing. The movie could have ended with them showing up in that same location, and it would have been time travel, but it's not, and they didn't. I will give you that they wanted to leave it open with the whole leap of faith thing, so the audience is supposed to take a leap of faith that they did time travel and they in fact went back. But the problem is that the movie just contradicts its own rules the whole time. So like, even if you take that leap of faith, at the end of the day, you're like, okay, well, the rules that it set up were broken immediately. So like, whatever. I will give it that, like, they gave us a equivalent time travel device of the character building it, right? Like, Redneck Doc Brown is a fantastic conclusion, and the device is exactly that. It's an airboat, like, and it looks insane, just like the guy who invented it. So that's hilarious.
Honestly, it does look insane. I think it looks freaking awesome though. The second you see that spinning thing, you're like, whoa, maybe this guy wasn't full of it.
But the ridiculous part is, like, it's got the spinning thing, but it still has a propeller at the end of it, which the propeller was pointless.
Right, which, like, what does that do?
I thought they were going to actually need to use speed, kind of like it. You know, they could have done it like the DeLorean, where you have to get to you have to speed and actually be driving on the water. Yeah. They didn't do that. It just disappears at the dock. I'm like, what?
Which, like, to his point, like if that is actually how it worked, right? You have to gain speed in the boat. This is such a smarter way of doing this than the DeLorean, because remember, the problem with the DeLorean is you have no idea where you're going to end up, and you might hit something. In fact, it almost always does.
Right.
Whereas, like, if you're on the water, like, well, you're probably just going to still be on the water. Right.
Yeah, most likely.
Right, exactly. Like, that's a lot smarter.
Yeah.
But again, that's not what it does.
Right. And we don't get any explanation on the device, or like what exactly is making it go right. Like with the DeLorean and Back to the Future, the flux capacitor is like the important thing, right? Like here, we don't have an explanation necessarily. Like, we see one of the devices that he steals in the movie, and he puts that on there at the very end. So we are to assume that this is like the most important piece, but it's only the most important piece because it's the last piece of the puzzle. But we don't have an explanation for exactly how it all works. We have one rule that gets
It's sort of like this MacGuffin, because like there is like importance like laid down on it when they steal the box, right?
Right.
And she says, what's in there? And he doesn't directly answer it. And then later, when the supposedly the government shows up, and Jake Johnson asks, like, hey, so like, what did he steal? And they don't directly answer it.
Right.
So it is a little strange that, like, yeah, it does feel like this is supposed to be our flux capacitor, but it never gets a name. It's just this big mystery thing until you see it, and you're like, all right, I guess maybe it's time travel. I don't know. I don't know what else that thing does.
Right.
Retroactively, when you look back at this movie and you find out Kristen Bell is alive, I think that is, I will say maybe it is a point in the direction of that this man was not full of it, right? I will say, like, I don't think he ever directly lies to her, ever. Which doesn't necessarily mean he didn't lie, but I think it is a point toward his character, right? That being said, though, the line at the end where he says, I'm not going back for me anymore, I'm going back for you, I think that does, like, make it very confusing then. It's like, well, did he save her, or is he crazy? Like, at this point, I feel like the movie needs to stop being ambiguous.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, it's about to do something very ambiguous, right? Where it just disappears.
Yeah.
I think it needs to stop being ambiguous with its lines, and, like, it won't. It doesn't. And it's like, I'm trying to make my own conclusions here, movie, but you're not letting me go one way or the other.
It didn't. The movie didn't obey its own rules and it makes it extremely confusing, and it makes it hard for you to take that leap of faith at the end, which is why I'm on the side
Yeah,
of
with
they,
the film, right?
right, like they did not time travel at the end because we don't have proof, and
He just killed them.
the leap of faith doesn't hit because they contradicted it multiple times leading up
Yeah.
to it, unfortunately, for the film in and of itself. But yeah, they're just
It's
they
a murder
died.
suicide.
They're gone. Yeah, they're dead.
Oh, it's like Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's redneck sci-fi Romeo and Juliet.
There
you
we go. We figured it out. In the meantime, please like and subscribe here on YouTube, where you can follow along with everything we're talking about. You can find us on Threads as well. And until next time, friends,
May the review be with you.
peace.